What do you do in politics when you don't have policy that speaks for itself? When you can't explain how, on paper, level-headed, objective way, what you're proposing could yield good results for the people you want to be your constituents? What's the tool you utilize? Fear. When you see a campaign that's not partly about fear, because sometimes you justifiably are afraid of things, but is centered around only fear, you know the person has weak policies. Let's check in on, as an example of this, Trump's Aurora, Colorado event. We will get to other wacky moments, but first, in these first three clips, just take note of that. As upsetting as it is to hear Trump talk about the things that he does relating to the border, knowing that, number one, he has called on Republicans to obstruct border solutions, but number two, he picks the most provocative, needlessly fear-mongering language that he possibly can to distract people from his terrible policies.
In Venezuela, their crime rate went down 72%. You know why? Because they took the criminals out of Caracas and they put them along your border and they said, if you ever come back, we're going to kill you. Think of that. And we have to live with these animals. But we're not going to live with them for long.
He has created a story, and we've watched it over the last few years as he's developed exactly what the language is that he sees provokes people. He's refining, as much as Trump can, his language to maximize fear, to terrify the crowd that he's in front of into believing nothing else matters. None of Trump's policy failures, none of Trump's incoherent policy proposals, none of Trump's character failings matter because I'm so afraid I just have to vote for him. Then this.
You're not going to have any, and they're going to take your house. That woman has a beautiful house over there. I saw it, actually. Enjoy it because you won't have it long. They will take over your house. Just like Venezuela. You know, Venezuela was a very successful country. 20 years ago, it was a rich, beautiful country. It was taken over. And I used to talk about this. I said, if they don't get it right, you'll have Venezuela on steroids, remember? And that's what you're going to have if you don't vote for Trump.
And it really does, in the background, it says, end migrant crime and deport illegals now. And it not only is centered around fear detached from policy, because, as I say so many times, I love talking about substantive solutions to border issues, but that's not what Trump's doing. He's just screaming about the scariest fabrication he can think of or the scariest distortion of facts that he can think of. But it also relies on an alternate reality being the one that people are buying into, one where they're less safe than they were before, when if they walk down the street, they're going to get murdered, as Trump said in this speech, when, of course, in reality, nationwide, people are safer. Crime is lower than it's been in a very long time. Then this.
Military-style weapons, sometimes better than our own military. You have to ask, they're illegal migrants. They come from poor areas. Where the hell do they get these guns, the best guns? Where do they get them? Where do they get them? Who gives them better guns than our military has? Who is giving them the guns?
So first off, no one has better guns than our military. But if he's saying that it's a problem that criminals, documented or undocumented, of course he's focusing on undocumented immigrants, but it's a problem that criminals can get their hands so easily on dangerous weapons of war, I'm with you. You're the one who wants to prevent us from doing a single thing about that with common sense gun laws. Now, moving off of that subject, first, please do click that subscribe button. The last few hours, online MAGA folks have been fixating on a complete lie about Vice President Harris's town hall last night with Univision, right? Yeah. And here's Trump pushing that lie, then I'll correct it.
Who has no clue what the hell is going on, I have to tell you. Did you see where she did a town hall yesterday and she used a teleprompter? I never saw a town. You don't use teleprompters. We don't use teleprompters, period, pretty much. You don't use them for town halls.
I really want to play the footage that led to this. Last time we covered Univision, they really dinged us. So I'm concerned YouTube-wise about playing their videos. If I see other people covering it and it looks fine, then I'll definitely cover, because Vice President Harris really did an excellent job. So excellent that they had to push a conspiracy theory, not a conspiracy theory, a lie about her using a teleprompter to deliver these answers. What happened was they took a deceptive video where you can see a teleprompter for the host, and interestingly enough, the teleprompter was giving the host Spanish words. And so, of course, Vice President Harris couldn't be giving her English answers off of that teleprompter. And of course, if you watch more than the 5 seconds they clipped, you can tell that teleprompter's for the host. And when Harris started answering her questions, the words that had just been on the screen for the host would go away. And I'm pretty sure like a timer or something would go up on there, letting Harris know how long she has to answer. Just lying. But if they're having to push that, clearly they think she did pretty well than this.
And interestingly, when she came in, she was okay, pretty good. But then they heard her talking. They watched her brain in action. And when they saw the brain in action, they said, that's it. And here she is again.
I think it's Trump's brain in action that we should be concerned with. But look at what he's so willing to say now.
So they're asking, but think of this. So CBS gets a license, and the license is based on honesty. I think they have to take their license away. I do.
He has been saying this constantly, that at one point he even said the government should come down hard on MSNBC. Here he's saying CBS should have their license revoked. He said this about MSNBC. He said this about numerous different outlets that he doesn't like. Take away their license. Take them off the air. Imagine, and this just gets to the double standard that is infuriating. Imagine if Harris, at her town hall last night, said Fox News pushes out such dangerous misinformation on the regular, which is true. And that's why I'm saying if I get into office, I'm going to facilitate the revoking of their license or the pushing of them off of the platforms they're on. Imagine if Vice President Harris said that. You would have a right-wing media implosion and a mainstream media concern. You would have unanimous discussion about this and outrage, justifiably so. We don't get that when Trump says such things. Then more here.
How to use them. But I protect you against outside enemies. But you know, I always say, we have the outside enemy, so you can say China, you can say Russia, you can say Kim Jong-un, you can say, but that's not, it's going to be fun. If you have a smart president, no problem. It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
This is why I encourage you all to, in the strongest of terms, oppose what the MAGA movement stands for, oppose Donald Trump, but be mindful of how you speak about the followers of Trump, because I think we have to demonstrate the way that Donald Trump is tainting and deteriorating our political discourse, and we can't then just reflect that back. So the way that he speaks, scum is the word he used to describe us, people he disagrees with politically. So be as aggressive as you can in your rhetoric about how horrible the views are that many MAGA folks hold, but don't also jump into that dehumanization. Because we're going to show the contrast where we express political outrage against our opponents without dehumanizing them, while the other side is increasingly dehumanizing and demonizing in shocking ways. And then nothing is more un-American than saying that our enemies abroad, they're not so bad compared to the enemy within, the other side. Then this.
So she didn't close it. And then they have the apps, right? How about the apps? Where they have an app so that the gangs, the people, the cartels, the heads of them, they can call the app. They call the second most resettled population nobody's ever seen. They call up the app and they ask, where do we drop the illegals? And people are on the other side. And they left that. She actually created an app, a phone system, where they can call up. I mean, she's a criminal. She's a criminal. She really is. If you think of so she.
The app that Trump referred to, I had to look this up on my phone because I wanted to confirm that what I'm saying is correct here, that he's justifying calling Vice President Harris a criminal because of, as Newsweek is reporting here, just my phone, you won't really see it, but the app that Trump referred to is the U.S. Customs and Border Protection mobile application, CBP-1, launched in 2020, while Trump was still president. It was developed, then launched, all while Trump was still president. But they don't care. She's a criminal because of an app. A border app, but he's not a criminal for actually being the president who launched it, which neither of them are criminals for it. It's fine to have an app. And of course, he's misconstruing what's being done with that app. Then he says this.
I just a thought from a very brilliant mind. They might want to put a third person in that. Oh, no.
And he's saying that maybe Harris will drop out and someone else. And at one point he said to Hillary Clinton, they keep saying Hillary Clinton's going to jump in the race. No one's saying that. You're hallucinating maybe, but no one's saying that. And I play that for you, though, more importantly, because he says, again, I'm brilliant, a very brilliant mind, pointing to his own head. Yesterday we talked about, and when I was filling in for the David Pakman show, one of the stories we did was, I think, 5 clips or something of Trump calling other people dumb and himself super brilliant. He has always said strange things about other people and about himself, and he has before called himself a very stable genius, but it's never been so consistent and so frequent. And I think it's because he's getting concerned about his intelligence and his deterioration, his decline. So to combat people observing that, he repeats over and over and over, they're dumb, they're dumb, they're dumb, I'm smart, I'm brilliant. Sad. Very, very sad. Scare the crowd. Push nonsense. Talk about how wonderful he is. That's the Trump speech playbook with just days until the election. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Support the show. Get the members only bonus show by clicking that join button below.